So a little bit about me, and then I want to hear about you guys. I've lived with myself now for 48 years, so I find this bit a little bit boring. I don't know if you live with yourself as long as I have, but when you do, you kind of go like, I've told this story so many times. But very briefly, I've been a coach now for 18 years. I started working with the social sector, so working in homelessness, working with domestic violence, working with child protection. I think one of the reasons why Animas has developed the way it has, by the way, is because of my background working with public sector issues where there's a lot of vulnerability. And so Animas as a coaching school has always erred on the side of helping people to find themselves rather than necessarily be super duper hugely successful. It's more about who are you as a human being and how do you nurture yourself in the world. I think that came from my background working in the public sector around a lot of vulnerability issues. So as a coach, I was working with police officers, social workers, housing officers, etc., looking at how did they make a difference in the local area. But one of the things I found very quickly was that when you work with groups of people, sometimes they back up their own prejudices, if you like, around what can be done and what can't be done. So I started working one-to-one, and that led me into the world of what we now call life coaching. When I started life coaching, I do that because I'm not too keen on the phrase, but when I started life coaching, it was the era of Sherry Blair, if you remember. Sherry Blair's life coach. Remember that? Do you remember Sherry Blair's life coach? And so it was a little bit of a laughing stock at the time, and thankfully it's changed a lot. But I started to build my own independent practice as a coach, segued into what I now call existential coaching. And I suppose now when I look at myself as a coach, I consider myself very existential, by which I mean that when I work with clients, I'm working on what is it to be human in the current condition? How are they facing those things which are inescapable? Choice, authenticity, sense of self, inevitable mortality. All these things are just things that we are going to face and we have to face every day in some way. So my role as a coach now is to help people go through that journey of looking at how is that human side showing up in their life, whether it's in the workplace, in a relationship, in a business building context, whatever it might be. What is the human being part that's affecting them? So that's who I am as a coach. I started Animas in 2008. We're now, what are we now? How many years? 9 years? Yeah, 9 years into Animas. We're now the second largest coaching school in the country. We're about to go international, so we're on bless you. We're really sort of making a huge dent in the coaching world. I think part of the reason why we've been so successful, by the way, is our focus on transformational coaching, which we'll explore shortly. And I think people really resonate with this idea that coaching is not just about achieving things, it's about understanding who you are. And I think once we start to really get that coaching is about showing up as a human being first and foremost, then we start to live life in a much more congruent way. And that's what we'll explore a lot today.